So last year was our first fall out here, and I was expecting to see a lot of nice colors on the trees. And it turned out there were 12 on the whole property, sugar maples, that the leaves changed color. The rest of it, they all just turned brown and died. So we ordered some trees from the DNR, and you can see by the flags on here that these are maples, sugar maples that I planted. And I was told these weren't supposed to grow. This one looks like, yeah, it's grown crooked. Looks like a deer kicked it over. I was told these weren't going to grow here, that it didn't have the right soil, but you can see that one's doing really good. You can see all the leaves on that. And there's like a dozen in this area, and I put them kind of close because even this one's got some growth coming on it. It doesn't look like a lot, but I put them pretty close together because I fully expected hardly any of them to grow. This one, yeah, this one's got a little bit of growth on it. Oh, look, you can see all the maple leaves here. That one's actually got a lot of growth on it. So there's a dozen in this area, and they weren't supposed to do well here. This one's just got a little bit of growth. But I just wanted to get some color in the fall. Again, this one's got a little bit of growth, not as good as the other ones, but you can see this looks like the deer ate a little bit of it. That's the problem. We planted maples. That one doesn't look like it. That one's not growing. So that's one so far out of the 12. That one's doing okay. It's just one out of the 12 that I put in here. And I put these markers next to it. People are like, why do you got all these flags everywhere? I'm like, I need to know where the trees are. That one too. I was like, I need to know where the trees are so I know what's growing and what's not, because if you did, they're just sticks sticking out of the ground if you don't know where they are. Now they got some leaves and stuff on them. We put them in, I think, probably the first few days of May, because I think we got them the last day of April or something like that. And so they've been in for a couple months now. Yeah, 2-3 months almost now. And they're doing pretty good. Now the oaks, we got red oak, because red oak changes color, but the oaks aren't doing as well as the maples are. And the maples, because we got like sandy soil here, weren't supposed to grow well. And we're gonna get up. I'll show you the oaks when we get up here. Now last year, see these berries on here? We got berries on this bush here. Last year there weren't any berry bushes, and now I'm finding berry bushes everywhere. And there's been more bear activity too this year, so I might have to chop down all the berry bushes just to keep them from coming around so much. Okay, so now we're up by where the oaks are, and this one's actually got some leaves on it. That's doing okay. I marked the oaks with a pink flag, and the maples had a orange flag. So we're up in this area. Again, these are doing pretty good here. You can see all the leaves on them already growing. That one's doing pretty good. This whole area up here, you can see that big pine tree. That big pine tree is going off on an angle. That thing's gonna fall, and it's gonna be on our driveway soon, because our driveway's right here. But you can see this area, this tree right in front of me here, they call it popple. It's an aspen tree, and I prefer to call it aspen because people that don't know anything about trees will say, oh, aspen, those are nice. But if you say the word popple up here, it's this horrible tree that everybody has and nobody likes. But they're everywhere. And they're supposed to be really fast growing trees. So you got a couple more here. They just, if you look at the bark, they just don't even look nice. I don't know what they have growing on them, but they're tall. They're fast growing trees that if you were to knock them down, their roots would continue to just keep growing more. But this whole area Well, not this one. This one is a bur oak right here. That's a bur oak right in front of me here. And this big one up here, that's a bur oak too. But the most of this is, we got a pine right here. This dead one, that was probably an oak. This pine right here is probably getting close to dying. There's hardly anything on the top that's still green. But these aspen, which sounds better than saying popple, the aspen, they do really good in this area. It's sandy soil and the acidity in the soil is just about perfect for them. But I want to get rid of as many of them as possible and replace them with either oak. Well, here's another one that the deer seems to have knocked over. It doesn't look like that's growing anyway. But replace them with oak and maple, which are trees that I prefer. So here you can see this. Wow, I must have got lazy because there's 3 of these in the same hole, and I put 3 flags, so I knew I was doing it. This was near the end. I can't tell. This one's growing. That one's growing too. So 2 out of 3 are growing. Near the end, I had them for too long, and they said after 10 days they're not going to grow anyway. So I was like, I don't care, and I just started chucking them in the ground. And 2 out of the 3 grew, and they weren't supposed to. So this one's dead. That was an orange, so that was a maple. This is an oak. Little bit of hardly any life on that one. This one's got, this one's got some. The leaves are growing on that. That's the oaks. This one, this one's actually, that's a really good sized leaf on that one. So these are starting to grow in here. So the plan is, we'll walk over here and look at the rest of these. Wow, if this one wasn't growing so crooked, the deer come through and they eat the tops of these things, and they tip them over because they just like trample right through them. I don't see this. Oh, this one got, again, this one's growing, but look at it. Now it's growing crooked. But it's got leaves on it. That's going to have to come out. Even if it starts growing, I'm going to have to take it out because it's going to grow too crooked. So this one's not growing. A large percentage of these, I didn't think this large of a percentage of them would grow. This one, the deer looked like they ate the top off of it at some point. I got a bunch over here too. You can see all the flags. These were ones I chucked in at the end. They're not growing. This one's, look at this one. Look at how thick this stalk is. But it looks like the top, if you see it, the top here, it looks like the deer ate it off because they eat everything. Oh, this one they totally trampled. Yep, that one's no good. They totally trampled that one. Let's get this out of the ground. Oh, deer poop. I don't know what they ate that they pooped like that. I'm pretty sure that's still deer poop. Might be something else. But again, these 2 are growing. Let's see this one. No. That one's growing. Oops, sorry about the camera. That one's growing a little bit. This one's not at all. I don't know if a deer ate that one, but this one's growing. So it seems like the majority of these are growing. I didn't expect that many to grow. And look at this. See this, they chew the stuff. I don't know what, they tried to eat it. And they must have chewed on it and carried it around a little bit and dropped it there, but I'll just pick that up. This one's got some big leaves on it. Look at that. Yeah, these are actually doing pretty good. They're like 2 months in the ground. Now the oaks were 2-year-old, and the maples were 3-year-old, and that might be why the maples were doing so much better. We got this one right here. They're all just growing so crooked. So either I put them in crooked, or the deer have trampled them all enough, because there are, I can't tell you how many deer there are here. There's so many. And I'm trying to, this essentially will be, I mean, you can see this clearing. We don't have a house yet, but we have an RV, but we don't have a house yet. And we got a septic system is in, but that's about it. And this area is kind of going to be our front yard, I guess. And if you look around, you can see like that tree, that one straight ahead there, that big one, that's a nice tree. That's a nice oak. But like all these that are, this one's like all bent over. Well, it's dead. So I'm gonna have to go through and clear those out in a later video. But I just wanted to point out all the stuff we did to you know, get trees to grow. The only other tree we put in were sycamores, and I'll go back there and we can check out the sycamore situation, and I'll explain those trees to you. So here's another area where I put maple trees in, and you can see this one's growing pretty good. Looks like there's something else growing next to it, unless they're both on the same kind of stalk there. But that's a maple there. And there I put a dozen in this area too. Here's another one that deer must have kicked over. I might have to put something next to them to stand these ones up straight that are actually growing. Yeah, this one's got a little bit of growth on it. These trees that are actually growing, like this one, wow, that's too bad. Look at how thick that is, and it's not growing at all. Because these were 3-year-old when we put them in. They've been in the ground now for just 2-3 months. That one's got a little growth on it. This one actually split off. That's doing pretty good. Again, it's crooked though, but it's probably trying to get to, that was a bad place to plant that one. I mean, you got this big, huge oak here. It's never gonna get light. So that was a bad place. I didn't expect them to grow. And at this point, when I got to this part, I was just chucking them in. I'm like, oh, there's a big open place here. Let's just chuck them in. But they're gonna be too close to these big oaks. I mean, that thing is, you look at that one's probably a 100-year-old tree. That's a big boy. And you got these two here that aren't as nice, but they're good sized trees. They block out a lot of sun. And this dead pine, oh, it's not all the way dead yet, but it's got woodpecker holes all up and down it. So it's another one crooked. This one doesn't look like it's growing. I don't know, I'm gonna have to get some kind of stakes or something to prop these up so that they grow straight up. Like this one should grow, it's clear enough. This stuff can come out, that can come out, and even this pine is not a nice pine. That can come out. I can take that out. This one's already dead. That can come out and provide more sunlight to this stuff. This one's in a good spot if it grows. Yep, that one's got some leaves too. So all of these sugar maples weren't supposed to grow. That one's got. All of these sugar maples were not supposed to grow at all. But the soil's different back here. And I think they cleared out because there isn't all the popple back here. So I think they cleared it out at one point, and they, because the trees are larger, and if you clear out the popple, then you can get, you know, big trees like that one there. You can get larger trees like that growing if you clear out all the popple. So that's on my to-do list for this summer too, is to clear out a lot of that popple, just thin it out a bit, and make sure there's room for the oaks to really grow. And you got all these baby oaks. I believe this is a bur oak with these big, huge leaves like this, but that's just a couple years old. Maybe on its second year, but there's a bunch of those everywhere, but they don't change colors. And the whole goal of planting the new trees was to get trees that would change color, because in the fall, if you live somewhere where they have nice falls and you have a bunch of acres with a bunch of trees, you like there to be color there. This is another area. I'm not going to walk through this one, but you can see all the flags. I think there's 14. Oh, I can see that one. I can see from there this one's growing, that it's got leaves on it. And this one, well, you can see that something's eaten on the leaves, but that has decent sized leaves on it. But you live out someplace where you can have really nice falls, but you have a bunch of trees that don't change color. You know, I just wanted to put trees in that will, so that in, oh no, I think that tree's dead. Oh man. Wow, that's a big, yeah, that's too bad. See, and then you got these, that's an oak next to it, but look, it's kind of like an icky oak. And it probably, when they're really close together like this, they kind of take each other out, because only one can get the sun and only one can get the nutrients for the soil. You know, if you get rid of them, then one gets it all instead of sharing it. And this pine tree is leaning over. That one's going to have to come down too. Man, when you walk around and are really looking at stuff, yeah, that thing, I'm going to have to take that out so that I can drop it so it doesn't take that oak out next to it. Oh no, this one's dead too. See, this whole area must have killed itself off, because that, or is that the same tree? No, that's a different tree. That tree's dead too. Wow. Gonna have to order more trees this fall to cut all these down and plant some new ones in there, or hope that the oaks just take off on their own. Although I prefer if they have color. So anyway, the point of getting back here was the sycamore trees. So I was only thinking about, let's get trees that change color. I wasn't even thinking about the tree at all. I don't know anything about sycamores, other than they were fast growing and they got beautiful colors in the fall. So there's probably 25 sycamores back here. And is that a sycamore? No, that's a oak. Where the sycamores have white flags. I can't even see the flags. Oh, well, this one's growing. That one's growing. That's got big leaves on it already. And that other one back in there where the white flag is too has stuff on it. This one is too. So these are 2 months old. I gave my brother a bunch of them. I gave him about 25 because after I figured out, I looked into these. I didn't look into them before I bought them, which buyer beware, but they grow to be 100 feet tall with a canopy of about 40 feet. You're not supposed to plant them any closer than 20 to 30 feet apart. So even all these, like that one looks like it's growing. Yeah, that one's doing pretty good in there too. But it's probably too close to those other two. Of the 25 that I put in, there were 9, and now it looks like there's only 8. I don't know what happened to the other one that are actually showing leaves and showing any signs of growth. Most of them just look like this. I don't know which one is the sycamore, which stick, but they're both dead. And yeah, this one's dead too. And this one, look at how big that stalk is, and that's dead too. Well, it might not be dead, but there's no signs of life on it. But these things are going to be huge. I gave them some to my brother, and he's got a pond next to his house, and he planted them there. He's selling his house, so he didn't care if they grew, because I told him, I said, these things are going to be huge. And he planted all 25. Yeah, these aren't growing. He planted all 25, and he says they're 4 feet tall already. Oh, look at this one. Yeah, and see how thick that is? And that's got growth on it. But he planted his are 4 feet tall. I'm like, mine aren't even growing, but we put them in, and the only way to get water back here is to haul water, and we weren't getting any rain. And I was kind of like, I don't care if they, I mean, I wanted, after I found out how big they got, I was like, yeah, I don't care because they're going to be too big. You know, if you don't want 25 of them in this area to, bugs in the ear, you don't want 25 of them in this area to take off all at the same time. This one's doing pretty good. It's got a bunch of leaves on it. Again, another one that's growing crooked. I bet I put them in crooked because either that or the deer have literally trampled on all this stuff. Doesn't look like the deer were chewing on this one, but they trample through everywhere. There's another one over here. Let's just go look at it. This is why I used white flags back here so I could see them better. Can't see. Must be this. It's got nothing on it. But I don't need 25 of them back here all big. If this area here, I mean, you can see this is probably, I'm guessing it's a good quarter acre, a good half acre back here that's somewhat cleared, only because I mowed through it and cleared out all the shrubs. It was all like this thick stuff. And I just plowed through it with a lawnmower so that you could walk through here, and so I could plant those trees, because I wasn't gonna walk through all that shrubbery there to plant a tree, and a tree's not gonna grow inside all that anyway. So anyway, those are the trees that we put in to get color. Hopefully this fall something shows some signs of life and color. The maples have been doing the best. Those were the 3-year-olds. The sycamores were 2-year-olds. The oaks were 2-year-olds. And basically, like I said, I just wanted to get color back here. And hopefully enough of these grow big enough that we start getting color. But this fall, it looks like after I take out all those dead trees, I'm gonna have to get more trees to plant in those areas, or hope new growth just takes over on its own. But that's the tree update on the DNR planted trees. They're doing pretty okay. I would say the sugar maples are probably over 90% on growing. The sycamores are at maybe 5 or 10 tops percent are growing, and maybe 10, let's say 10%. And the oaks, maybe 50-60% of those are growing. But they said it could take up to a year sometimes for them to establish and start growing better. So if you like this kind of stuff, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one.